Okay, so picture this. It's like 2003. You flip on the TV, and it's just this explosion of pink.
Total saturation.
Yes. You got the velour tracksuit Juicy Couture, obviously. There's a tiny dog in a designer
A
bag.
chihuahua, always a chihuahua.
Chihuahua, yes.
Yeah.
The jeweled flip phone snaps shut. And then you hear that voice, that vocal fry. That's hot.
Mm-hmm.
For a whole generation. That's Paris Hilton. She's frozen in time as that original it girl, famous for being famous.
It's a huge cultural imprint. It's almost this caricature that we all just sort of collectively agreed was the truth. We didn't just watch it, we projected a lot onto her.
Totally. We thought we knew her. But this is where it gets really, really interesting. We've got our source material for today. It's a transcript from a super recent deep interview she did with Jay Shetty.
Right.
And it completely dismantles that image. She's talking about her new documentary, her memoir, a new album. And the person in these notes is, she is basically unrecognizable.
And that's really the mission for this deep dive. This isn't celebrity gossip,
No.
If you actually read what she's saying, this is a fascinating case study. It's about trauma. It's about neurodivergence and this massive psychological shift it takes to go from being a character to a real person.
That's a huge pivot. So, okay, let's lay out the roadmap.
Yeah.
First, we're going to dig into how she has completely reframed her ADHD from something she was ashamed of to what she now calls her superpower.
A huge part of her story.
Then we have to look at the dumb blonde persona. Not as, a sign of her intelligence, but as a very deliberate trauma response, a shield.
Which is a perspective I think most people just totally miss. It changes the whole narrative.
It does. And finally, how she's channeled all of that into becoming this, surprisingly effective advocate for legislative change in Washington. So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's start with the neurodivergence piece, because that really seems to be the engine behind everything she's doing now. She talks about a song on her new album called ADHD, and it features Sia.
Which is fascinating in itself.
Yeah.
Sia apparently told her, I've never heard a pop star want to do a song about ADHD. It's usually love or heartbreak.
Right. The club.
Exactly. But Paris wanted to write about her brain. And she says it's become this anthem for parents and kids.
Yeah.
But looking at the source material, it wasn't always an anthem for her, was it?
Oh, not at all. And you have to remember the time period. Her descriptions of school in the 2000s, it was basically a torture chamber for her brain. She talks about failing tests, always losing her homework, and just feeling, this is her word, stupid.
Ugh. This is such a heavy word for a kid to carry.
It is, because back then, especially for girls, ADHD just wasn't really on the radar. It was seen as, boys being hyper. For girls, it's often inattentiveness. So she internalized it all as a character flaw. She thought something was wrong with her.
She gets really specific about the emotional part of it. She uses this term I hadn't really heard in a celebrity interview before, RSD, rejection sensitivity dysphoria.
Yes. This is crucial. If you want to understand Paris Hilton, you have to understand RSD. It's often comorbid with ADHD. And in simple terms, it means your nervous system just doesn't have the brakes for emotional reactions to criticism.
So it's not just being sensitive.
No, it's physiological. That's the key. She says it's like feeling emotions times 10. Negative feedback isn't just sad. It causes actual physical pain, like a blow to the chest.
Oh, yes. That puts her whole career in a completely different light. She chose an industry built on criticism, on tabloids, on mockery.
The meanest era of media, arguably.
Right. While having a brain that literally makes rejection physically painful.
It's a wild paradox. She walked right into the fire. But this is where the reframing is so important. She talks about how she learned to flip the script. She doesn't see ADHD as a disorder anymore. She sees it as the reason she's a successful entrepreneur.
Her superpower. I love that. And she talks about hyperfocus, which is interesting. We think of ADHD as being distracted, but that's not how she explains it.
Right. That's a common misunderstanding. It's not a lack of attention. It's an inability to regulate it. So for her, it's this ability to just laser focus on things that are interesting and completely ignore the boring stuff. That's why she calls herself a multi-hyphenate.
A DJ, designer, author, activist.
Exactly. She can spot trends, reality TV, selfies, influencers, years before other people because her brain is just constantly scanning for what's new and exciting. That's the dopamine hit.
So her need for dopamine basically turned her into a trend forecaster.
Pretty much.
But there's a funny side to this she mentioned. Did you see the part about object permanence?
Oh, the dating story. Yeah. Yes, a classic ADHD trait in a very Paris Hilton context.
It's hilarious, but also so revealing. She said she used to think the dopamine rush of a new relationship was love. But because of object permanence, like out of sight, out of mind, as soon as the guy left.
She'd literally forget he existed.
Yes. She said she ghosted so many guys just because her brain had moved on.
It sounds like a joke, but it's a real cognitive thing. Usually it applies to, like, your keys. You put them in a drawer and your brain just deletes the file. For her, it was boyfriends.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But she's using all this knowledge now, right?
Yeah.
She mentioned a partnership with Google, inclusive by design.
Yeah, and it's actually really practical. She's helping design home and office spaces for neurodivergent brains. Things like clear storage bins so you can actually see what's inside, tackling that object permanence issue head on. She's trying to build a safety net for others that she never had.
That idea of a safety net, or not having one, that's a perfect transition to the next big topic, the character, the baby voice, the whole simple life thing.
Right, because for years the story was just that she was vapid, that the dumb blonde act was real.
But the real reason for it is so much darker. We have to talk about the catalyst. She was 19.
The sex tape. And it's so important to use her language here. She calls it a violation. A tape released without her consent by someone she trusted when she was a kid.
And the detail that she says hurt the most wasn't just the tape itself. It was the lie. The public perception that she released it on purpose for fame. She says people thought she was this marketing genius, but she was really just a painfully shy teenager hiding in her house, just mortified.
The shame of the violation was one thing, but then to be blamed for it, that's a whole other layer. So the question is, how do you survive that?
You build armor. And for her, the armor was the simple life character.
Precisely. She explains that she just leaned into it. She figured, if they're going to laugh at me, I might as well control the joke. You want a dumb blonde? I'll give you the dumbest, blondest one you've ever seen.
It's such a smart psychological defense, right? If they're laughing at the character, they're not laughing at the real traumatized Paris.
They're laughing at a costume. It created distance. And honestly, it was brilliant business. She says she was laughing through the pain, but she was also laughing all the way to the bank.
Totally. She monetized the mockery.
She took the thing meant to destroy her and built an empire on it. But there was a turning point. She mentions doing Saturday Night Live with Jimmy Fallon.
Ah, yes.
And that was the moment where she felt like she was in on the joke, not the butt of it. She was performing the character with them. On her terms, she was taking her power back.
That arc is incredible. From victim to character to mogul. But now she's something else entirely. She's a serious policy advocate.
And this is the part I think really shocks people. We're not talking about perfumes here.
Yeah.
She has been going to Washington, D.C. for 4 years.
And not for, like, a photo op?
No, she's walking the halls of Congress. She's getting laws changed.
The stats are pretty wild. She helped pass a federal bill to protect kids in the troubled teen industry, changed laws in 15 states.
And this is all because of what she went through, being sent to those behavioral camps as a teen.
Right. Institutional abuse, she calls it.
Yeah. And she talks about how hundreds of kids have died in these places. Her motivation is so clear. She just wants survivors to be believed. Because for so long, no one listened. They were just bad kids.
It's the ultimate gaslighting. But now she has this massive platform, and she's forcing them to pay attention.
And it's interesting. She says she feels like she had to go through all that so she could be the one to change these laws.
Wow. To reframe your own trauma that way. That's powerful. And we see that instinct elsewhere, too. This story about the LA wildfires.
Oh, that was chilling, yeah.
She's watching the news, and she sees her childhood home just burning down, live on TV.
Can you imagine just watching your memories go up in smoke?
Horrible. But her reaction. She says she immediately pivoted. She started organizing aid, working with baby to baby, fostering displaced pets, funding women-owned businesses that lost everything.
It shows that shift from self-preservation, the armor, to community care. She's secure enough now to look outward and help.
Speaking of secure, her personal life. The vibe shift is real. She's married to Carter Reum.
And she says it was the first time she ever really let her guard down.
She tells this really sweet story about 11.11. You know, make a wish. She used to always wish for success or love. But now, she says when 11.11 comes around, she looks at her husband and her 2 kids, and she doesn't know what to wish for. Because she has it all.
That's a profound place to be for someone who spent their whole life chasing validation. She's not in seeking mode anymore. She's in savoring mode.
But she has a goal for her own kids. This Paris playbook is all about openness.
And it links right back to her childhood.
Yeah.
She said she got in trouble because she was scared to talk to her parents, so her whole goal is to make sure her kids feel safe telling her anything.
She wants to be the safety net she never had. And she even updated her catchphrase. It's not "that's hot" anymore.
Nope. The new one is "kindness is iconic."
Kindness is iconic. I'll admit I might have rolled my eyes at that a few years ago. But hearing her story, it feels earned now.
It really does. It shows a maturation of her values, moving from aesthetics to behavior.
Okay, before we wrap, we have to do the quick-fire section. There were some hilarious confessions in there.
Let's do it.
First, fashion regrets. She wishes the Ed Hardy trend would just stay buried.
Which is so ironic because she basically created that trend.
She knows. She's like, I wore it, but no. Also, that's hot wasn't even her line.
I saw that. It was her sister, Nikki. Paris just borrowed it and then trademarked it.
A classic Paris move.
Yeah.
And the wildest rumor she ever heard about herself, that she dated Michael Jackson.
Which is just absurd. He was a close family friend. She'd known him since she was a baby.
It just shows you how that media machine works.
Right.
So when we zoom out, what's the big takeaway here?
I think it's a story of integration. For so long, she was fractured. There was the real Paris, and then there was the mask, the persona.
The two separate people.
Totally. And what we're seeing now is those two sides merging. She's not hiding the ADHD. She's using it. She's not hiding from the trauma. She's legislating against it. She's finally one whole person.
It's a masterclass in what they call post-traumatic growth. She didn't just survive. She built an empire on top of the scandal and is now dismantling the systems that hurt her.
Exactly. And she seems at peace with it all. Even the Ed Hardy, it was all part of the path to get her here.
So here's a thought to leave you with. Paris said she feels like she had to go through that violation so she could change the laws for other people. It really makes you wonder, how often do we judge people by their armor without ever realizing it's just a survival mechanism?
And maybe to take it one step further, what parts of yourself that you've been taught to see as shameful, like how she saw her ADHD, might actually be your superpowers, just waiting for the right moment? Maybe you're not broken. Maybe you're just built for something different.
That's the question. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll catch you on the next one.
Stay curious.